Come Home, The Kids Miss You by Jack Harlow. It is 15 songs, 16, no? Yeah, that's right. 15 songs, 45 minutes long. Sometimes the text is small on my other monitor, sorry. And yeah, like I said, Jack Harlow has really blown up as the this current generation's favorite white rapper, it seems. The one of my favorite trolley posts was someone saying Jack Harlow is Gen Z Eminem, which is like tap the brakes. You can tell that's deliberate trolling, and that's pretty good trolling, I will say. But like,
Mhm. Big K.
yeah, big K. That's a big K if I've ever heard one. I'll say before we jump in here that maybe there will be a theme with this episode. I definitely, after doing listen number 2, listen number 3, liked it more on subsequent listens, and I definitely feel that Jack Harlow has potential to continue like growing and has like a definite ways to grow. I don't love every single part of this project. I find some parts of this project annoying and like damn cheesy, but other parts of this project that I think are like more, again, not perfect, but if I'm being honest with the things I've asked for from rap music for the past 5 years on Audioface, Jack Harlow is doing more of that than a lot of other artists that I see.
100%. So I'm much in agreement with you. After second listen, I don't mind this record. There's a lot. My big problem with it is just the lyrics and the bars are just really cheesy on some parts, and they're kind of whatever. I love the production work a lot on this record. I think that it's very clean, it's crisp, and for listening to Jack Harlow's earlier work and some other stuff, he's actually released a ton of music, but has only really blown up the past about year and a half or so.
Shout out Lil Nas X, because that's definitely helped.
That's helped, and then a couple other tracks and stuff that he's done and been on.
He's gotten a cosign from Kanye as well for like Nail Tech and a bunch of other things. So a lot of and then there's, just talking on this album here, there's a Pharrell feature, you have a Drake feature, Justin Timberlake, Lil Wayne, and I just named the 4 features out of the 15 songs. So you're coming with a not very feature heavy project from an extremely pop rap artist. So a lot of bold decisions here in this album effort.
Yeah, and I don't think he really needed he doesn't need the features really. He's decent enough alone. Like, he has really good flow. I'll give him that. I like the way he raps. I like the way he sounds and everything. His lyrics, I really don't like. They're not convincing. They're just like, all right, you're gonna be a fuckboy for 45 minutes, cool, whatever. But again, as kind of going into like the musicality of it and the production work, it's good. It's every song, every track, I should say, has a purpose for being there. Everything flows together well. There's not one song that really sounds the same to another one on the record. There isn't one part where it's like drags on necessarily. And compare that to a lot of the other pop rap and pop trap stuff that we've been getting for a long time. The past 3-4 years now, it's nice that someone's doing a little bit something different with that. Something where like, okay, hey, he's actually trying to do something over the production work. He's trying to do a little bit different with throwing in a lot of neo pop in here, throwing in normal pop, throwing in trap, throwing in rap, just doing a bunch of stuff, kind of mixing it together and popping it in. And yeah, I mean, so kind of going into like the actual record, the first track is a little interlude, Talk of the Town. I thought actually it was really cheesy. It sounded like he was trying to be J. Cole, and I was like, please don't. I have my own quarrels with J. Cole. Some of his stuff I really like. Other times I'm like, he sounds like he's trying to be J. Cole on that one. I was like, don't do that. Be you. Be you, Keen. Be you. But like then, like you have Young Harleezy, Do Anything to Make You Smile, First Class. Some of those tracks, like, they're actually pretty decent.
Hey, it's post-production Dan here, and let me just say that First Class has a boomerang bumper ass beat. And I talked about this with one of my friends, shout out Andrew. And yeah, this sounds like one of the boomerang bumpers from Cartoon Network. It's all coming back to you. Okay, you gotta be a particular like late millennial zoomer to understand that, so I'm just gonna go back to the regular review now.
Like, I don't mind the way they sound. Like, they don't have the normal trap production work. There's a lot of experimentation in some of it for being a pop record in that way. But my biggest gripe is just the lyrics of it. Like, it's not very good or convincing. Yeah. So that's something that he can grow on for sure.
Young Harleezy is just like dude, what? Like adding Easy or Izzle on your words is like 2000 rap shit. Like Snoop Dogg is 50 years old and is like writing that shit into the ground. Like you've got to do something else. Like even as a white rapper, you've got to do something else. And I got to like I don't mean to say like I put white rappers to a lower pedestal because like Eminem, for example, who is like jokingly compared to Eminem, who's like jokingly compared to a lot of different rappers, is like bar for bar better than like 75% of black rappers, right? Like
Yeah.
and if I talk about the fact like the lyrical and like story filled content that he can produce, I dare to say 90% better than most black
He's
rappers, right? So
very good. Yeah.
this isn't to say that like just the pigmentation in your skin automatically makes you a worse rapper or anything per se, right? But like Jack Harlow is just not going to be that easy for you. I was talking to one of my other like musician friends for this like about this kind of dynamic is that ultimately to be a good rapper these days you just can't be eaten up by your beats. There are a lot of rappers who just don't survive their own beats or the beats that are made for them, and yet these songs still get released. And we've talked about it here and there, honestly, like our proclivity for like trap music and how much that comes out versus how much is actually good has made it so this year we've only listened to like some of the better of the best, so to speak. So we haven't had many examples this year, but definitely in the past 2 years, we've had examples of just like trap artists who just like can't handle the beats they're rapping on, and somehow the song still gets released publicly.
Like you get your Playboy Cardis, your YBs. That's why I have the YB scale of is YB better, YB worse. YB definitely not better.
Yeah.
Than this
No,
record.
YB's not better
even,
than Jack Harlow.
No,
on
YB's
this.
not even fucking close. But
And-
that's why I jokingly make that scale though.
But like, there's lyrics like I'm sure someone told him that like Dua Lipa, I want to do more with her than do a feature is like a clever lyric, maybe. But I'm sort of over these. I'm sort of over these like rappers making songs about female rappers and how they want to bang them. Like there was Doja by Snot, who I also kind of like Snot kind of much, but like I just feel like this.
I like that track just for the beat is fantastic, but like all right.
I feel like the trope is just like kind of annoying, and then like
super annoying.
I desperately just want to hear takes of like these rappers like or Dua Lipa or Doja Cat doing like response songs about like they would never sleep with these guys anyway. That would rock. I can't wait for that to come out on both their next respective albums. But ultimately, as you get through it, like I'd say, and I will be honest, so like Pharrell Williams, who I think did a phenomenal job co-producing the Pusha T record that we reviewed last week. I didn't necessarily love this like movie star flip that he did with Jack Harlow. I think it kind of felt kind of wrong. That being said, I felt like Churchill Downs was Jack Harlow really trying to be lyrical and storytelling, and Drake doing what Drake does best, honestly. Yeah, Drake's doing what Drake does best, honestly, which is doing his best to meet whatever artist he's featuring with where they're at. And like we said, like we've talked about on this podcast, sometimes it comes off really unconvincing. Like when Drake is trying to meet the gangster of 21 Savage, just like, dude, I don't trust you.
So funny.
But when Drake and Jack Harlow are trading bars, spitting about like, you know, they're amazed that they're at this level in the game and they're just trying to achieve a higher and higher and higher, and they don't care about like the jealousy that is perceived by their peers. They're just going to keep going for it kind of in like a flaunting way. That feels like Drake in his element. That feels like Jack Harlow in his element. Together, they're great. Like it's, I have plenty of Drake hate on this podcast in the record. I like this track. I think Churchill Downs is really good. That's where Jack Harlow's doing his J. Cole kind of thing, and Drake meets it, and it kind of works really well.
Yeah, and I think that's where Drake is at his best too, where like, you know, you have Way Too Sexy, where it's when there's two versions of him that I like, and it's when he's not taking himself seriously, and when this is where he matches someone with them, but it's something that works in his persona. He's not going to be super hard. Like, I hate him when he partners up with 21, because 21 just overshadows him every time on those tracks to me. And he just sounds completely out of his element. But Churchill Downs, I thought was actually a really good track. The production of it too was good. Both their flows together, very, very good. So I hope that they partner up in the future, and you know, to see hopefully Jack Harlow get featured on one of Drake's tracks or something as well. I think would be nice to kind of see how he works with a Drake project or something as well. That I think would be really cool. But overall, like, Justin Timberlake was fine. Lil Wayne was okay. You also had like I think Snoop Dogg was in here somewhere, but isn't credited for Future. Also, he had some samples and stuff that he used from Snoop Dogg, and he used like Glamorous and a couple other features here or there, or not features, samples that he used actually in a pretty clever way. So I think that he has a really high ceiling, is my thing for Jack Harlow. Like, there's a lot he can do. He just needs to, brushing up on the lyricism. Really, like, if he wants to be, truly someone who can really get up to the top, you need to start, like, instead of just doing this fuckboy persona for 45 minutes, like, you got to start talking about some other stuff. Like, if you really want to sound like J. Cole, like, J. Cole talks about a lot of deep stuff. As much as, Know the Little Bitch J. Cole, we wanted to go in on him for. There's a lot of good stuff he talks about and everything about growing up, where he's from, the area, like, and all of the atrocities and stuff that you'll see when growing up in a rough area and all of that. And it's the stuff of normal life and what people can relate to. But if it's just saying, I want to write an album about my side piece, you're like, okay, go ahead, sure. It's like that's my biggest disappointment in that. But again, it's nice to hear someone actually care about the production work and care about what it sounds like. So just
like
mature
with all these things, like with all these things, all your points are totally valid. You also get songs like Nail Tech at the end, which we did as a new singles feature, which a lot of people have heard, which is like a massively popular song. And it's truly like, it's definitely pop trap for sure, but combining the trumpets, combining like the kind of techno inspired beat with how you're switching the productions and the drums and normal trap flow. It's really solid stuff. I think Jack Harlow can be one of those artists, kind of like Billie Eilish, who brings really alternative sounds into the pop space. I just definitely want to see more lyrical improvement and willingness to dip more into that subject matter, which Jack Harlow already does pretty decently well. I think it's definitely going to be a minefield as like a white rapper to dig into some of this deeper subject matter and like not feel like he's like culture vulturing or like not truly understanding like the subject matter. But
talk about your own experiences, mate. Talk about your own things, your own opinions, and all of that. Have at it.
Yeah, or bring on another artist who can bring on that context and talk about those experiences. Like again,
bring in Pusha T, see what happens.
Yes, Pusha T, for example. But like LP, I think does a really good job of complimenting Killer Mike in his lyrics and not sounding like a white savior in his lyrics.
Not even, I think
that's LP is the gold standard example on that, and I think Jack Harlow, on of course a much more younger mainstream level, can follow in that path if he does it the right way.
Think of it like Yankee and the Brave is like a perfect example of it.
Yeah, or in Just look at all these slaves.
Just
dollar. His backup lyric is perfect.
Yeah. You also had lead singer of Rage Against the Machine on there too, so it's like. You can do a lot. Doesn't matter about your race. But yeah, again, he's also young. He's, I think, 23, 24. So, he has a really high ceiling.
Absolutely. Arbitrary scale this week. I picked a really good one because it's Sean's birthday.
I love this
arbitrary scales. We do arbitrary scales every single week on Audioface because our review is our review. We said a lot of pretty good shit in that review. And if we watered it down by giving it a ranking scale, either like a letter grade or a number grade,
we become Pitchfork.
Yeah, exactly. So instead, we are going to give you the hardest to keep track of, most ridiculous rating scales. This week is going to be ships in the this is going to be naval ships in the John Lewis class replenishment oiler system. And so basically what that means is that the US Navy has a bunch of ships that are named after like liberal heroes in politics, which is hilarious because it's exactly that meme of like Republicans having like drones and there's like shooting down rockets, and liberals having the same drone shooting down rockets with a pride flag on it. This is literally that meme, but this is really happening. So they're actual Navy.
They're like the B-52 bombing people, and then it says bombing where it's like LGBTQ, and then like the
like Black Lives Matter bombing.
Black Lives Matter. So yeah, exactly.
It's like you're missing the entire point of like what leftist politics should be. It's not just like putting social justice like symbols over American imperialism. It's an actual change of the system. But let me stop myself. That's Power Report. This is an arbitrary scale.
Known African freedom fighter Nancy Pelosi kneeling down.
Wakanda forever, Nancy Pelosi. So, anyways, this album, I'm gonna give this the USNS Harvey Milk.
God damn it! I want to do Harvey Milk too, fucker. All right, just to no. It deserves a Harvey Milk. I could see it being a Harvey Milk.
Yeah. The USNS Harvey Milk christened on the 6th of November 2021. Named after a San Francisco gay rights activist who was assassinated. But
yep.
What? So in honor of this gay rights activist, we're gonna fuel up a bunch of ships to kill some fuckers.
Yep.
Oh my god, this country rocks in every wrong way.
Fucking
possible.
Awesome. It's fucking awesome.
And we mean that ironically. We don't like American imperialism here, but it's just like the levels it goes to are insane. You can help grow Audioface by following Audioface Pod on Twitter or Instagram. Check us out on youtube.com/audiofacepod. A lot of our reviews are blowing up, and we really appreciate your comments, your likes. That's literally what helps it blow up. So please continue doing that. Hit follow on Spotify, subscribe on other apps, rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. All that stuff really helps, and it's helping us. Y'all have been doing it, and we really appreciate it because it's growing the show, and we're seeing those numbers really happen, especially these past couple months. So keep it up. We really helps us out. Also, remember, you can become a member at join.syndicate23.com. Join.syndicate23.co. Jesus Christ, don't enter in .com. I cannot guarantee what happens to you if you enter in .com. Join.syndicate23.co. And you can get Syndicate 23 membership. That's going to be super fun. You get tons of bonus content. And recently on Power Report at youtube.com/Dan from the Internet, the political show we keep trying to not talk about here. There was that reproductive rights throwback that we did from an earlier episode back from the fall of last year. Elon Musk's Twitter takeover. I have some special opinions about that. And then Democrats losing the war on weed. That's one of those Power Report stories where I like to keep track of it because no one in the mainstream media is actually talking about it. Very few people in even independent media are even talking about the story, and it's really important. So check out youtube.com/Dan from the Internet. And yeah, we makes content out here at Syndicate 23.